Hi, this is Michael from Expanse VR, and this is the fourth episode in our beginner series for Shader Graph in Unity. And in this episode, we're going to go over the challenge I gave you in the last episode, and then we're going to dive into some new nodes to start giving us some even greater functionality in our shaders. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and of course click that notification button down below to make sure you are notified whenever I post a new tutorial for you. So if you remember from the last episode, I asked you if you could see about combining some of these nodes here, in the fact that we wanted to see if we can actually have the black bars on both sides of our image or on all sides. And it's very, very simple. So if we just move all this around to give ourselves a little bit more space, we just create another multiply node. Oops, no, sorry, wrong one. That's a matrix. No, we don't want that one. Multiply. Now we've done a 1 minus here to give us the top. And if we give ourselves the one straight out of the node here, and this one here, no, sorry, out of the same one, there we go. And if we plug that into our color, we are now seeing that it is giving us our black bars on the side. But if you've noticed, it's a little bit dull in the middle here. Why is that? Well, obviously we've got, in the middle here isn't a pure 1, it's 0.5. So in fact 0.5 by 0.5 is 0.25. So it's actually getting quite dull here. What we could do is we could add to it, we could multiply it by again. So for instance, we could do multiply. We know we've got 0.25, so if we want 0.25 will need to be times 4. And there you go, we've now got our 1 in the middle again. So if we save that asset, there we go. We can see black on the tops and in the middle. And we can do this again to try and get our sides. So if we go the 1 minus once more, this time we're going to go from our, let's bring this down here. And by the way, you can see it's starting to get all a bit spaghetti-like. If you want to make things a little bit easier to see what's going on, you can just hit this little arrow here and it will shrink it down to just give us a little bit more space. And for instance here, we'd probably actually connect it in here and this in here. And just like any sort of code, you do things at the beginning and then you start to clean up as you go. So we might move around. So we're going to go 1 minus once more, this time from our red node. Same thing again, we create another multiply. 1 into here, 1 into there. Shrink it up there. This one we do again, another multiply by 4. Shrink him up one more time, get him out of the way. And if we want to, join them both in. And there we go, got it going all the way around. And as I said before, there's a little bit of spaghetti going on, a little bit of a spider web. There are actually cleaner ways to do it, but that's just a rough idea to give you a bit of it. And hopefully you had a good go at this. And I am going to try and give challenges at the end of most of these videos. And it's super, super important for you to give it a go. Honestly, the best way that you can learn is to give these things a try, break things, find out why it broke, and then have another try at it again is honestly the best way to learn how to use Shader and how to program in general. So let's just quickly clean all this up. Let's just delete all this and get back to where we were before with a simple shift like that. Now, the other one that we're going to look at doing this week is the next node we're going to look at is called the step node. And the step node, when we plug it in, so we plug it into the input there. If we zoom in, you can see the one's input, the top is the edge. Now, if we bring it down from 1, you're going to start seeing it slide across all the way to 0. And if you think of this kind of like an if function in C#, if we put this in the middle, 0.5, dead in the middle, what this is basically doing is saying any value above 0.5 is going to be a 1, anything below 0.5 is going to be a 0. So like I said, it's just like an if function. If the value is 0.5 or greater, it is 1, else it is 0. And if we plug this into our multiplier, you can see it there, and we get a nice sharp amount. And in fact, just going forward, let's get rid of this one for the moment because we don't really need this. It's done its purpose. We're going to simply plug this straight into here. So there we can see it. And if we bring it across, you can see it slowly moving this amount. And this provides us some really great functionality. Now, the first thing I'm actually going to do is show you how we can use this for something else as well. So if we get rid of this to our alpha channel, which we haven't been really using, we're going to plug our colors straight into our color node, get rid of the multiply node, and we're going to plug this into our alpha. And as you can see, it is providing us with a cutoff. So we're using the black for transparency in our alpha channel. So the next thing that we're going to look at doing, because as much as this is great, it's very hard to make these changes and to save it all the time. So it would actually be really good if we can actually alter this outside of the shader graph here and in our actual material. And that's something we can do quite easily. So you can actually add properties to your shader. And that's what this little section is up here. So we're going to start using this a bit this episode. So the first one we're going to do, we're going to actually make it so that we can manipulate this input outside. And there's two different ways that you can do that. Either way is just fine. And I'm going to make it so that you can alter the color. So I'm going to show you both ways. The first one is if we just go up here and click plus, you can see all the different properties that we can have. So the first one we use is a vector 1, which we know is just a simple float. And we can now expand this a little bit so we can see this a bit better. Let's simplify this down here. So here is what is displayed in our material. So for instance, here we're going to say, well, we could use this as a health bar. So how about health? And it's very important and a great habit to form straight away and good practice is where it says reference here, it gives you this random number. And later on, if we want to be able to edit this in script, we need to have something a little bit more legible. And usually for shaders, values are underscore beforehand and a capital. So here we'll do underscore health. And here it can tell you what the value is. We've discussed before about inherents and floats and all that. We're going to set this to a float just so it's easier to actually access. And then simply all you do is drag it down into here. And if we connect it up, you can see the default is 0. And if we save our asset, if we come down to here to our actual material, you can even see it on here and expand it. If we now make this 1, it disappears. Make 5, sorry, 0.5, it's in the middle. And to make this a little bit more interesting to be able to use, if you look down here where it says mode, we can actually do a slider. Save it again. And now, ooh, now that's nice. Now you're starting to see the power of shaders and what you can actually do. Now the other way that you can create, and by the way, if you just want to expand or minimize your properties, you just click this one here. The next one we can do is for the color, and the color is the same thing. And this is the other way that you can create a property. Instead of creating up here, you can actually, if you've already got it down here, is you can right click and convert to property. And there you go, it puts it straight up there for you. So what we can do is, actually no, we'll stick with color for the moment. Same thing here, underscore color. Save, and now you can see in here we can actually change this. So if we're doing a health bar, what would a health bar be? Some sort of green. And there we go. You can now see that we have a working health bar. And if we use this, expand, oops. Once again, see it coming in. Now this has provided some functionality. Now there's a few things that's not quite right with this. One of these we're going to cover in next week is how do we access this in script so that we can actually make use of it a lot more. The other one obviously is that this is the wrong way around. And we could simply fix this by rotating the object, but that's not the best way to do it. You want to keep objects in their normal alignments and just simply fix it in code, which we can do quite easily. You've already got the tool for this. And the other option is that the input here. So at the moment, we've got a value of 0 to 1, which works fine. We could fix this in script, or we could actually fix this in our graph, and I usually think this is the better way. I think a value of 0 to 100 would be better. So I'm actually going to give you 2 challenges for our next video, and that's going to be one to try and make it so that instead of this moving from left to right, we want it to move from the other way around, obviously opposite. And also we want to have a value of 0 to 100 that works with this as well. So that's going to be a challenge for the next video, and when we come back I will show you how to do that. Plus we'll start actually accessing this with scripts, and we're going to put a border around this too. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and share to help grow our beautiful Unity community, and don't forget to hit that subscribe and notification button below to make sure you get to see our next video. See you shortly.